Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. I have a course fit video for the 2021 Mayakoba Golf Classic for you guys. Sorry, this is kind of coming out a little bit late. I wanted this to come out on a Monday evening. It is now Tuesday midday, but hey, better late than never. So in these course fit videos, what I typically like to go over is basically looking at a course breakdown to kind of determine, what shot shape is important or any other pieces of information we can get from a golf course, whether there's a lot of sand, a lot of penalty areas, that kind of thing. Try to determine the right fit of player for this course. And then we also would look at course history as well as grass stats, tournament fact sheets that the the GCSAA.org provides. Unfortunately, we don't have a bunch of those things. There are no tournament fact sheets. I kind of, like last night I was thinking about putting a video out. I didn't see them, so I thought, hey, I can wait a little bit longer. Maybe I'll get this out Tuesday morning. Still didn't have them. Then I looked into 2019 and 2018. They didn't have them for those years as well. So basically, the superintendent of the golf course sends their setup to what the course is going to be to the GCSAA. And this year, I should say, it doesn't appear that the Mayakoba or Camaleon, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't think they send it, so I'm not gonna have those. We are on Passpalum grass, which there really aren't. Like, my data goes back to 2013. There really aren't a lot of events. We'd be basically looking at 3 events that have that grass. Maybe 4, but really honestly it would be 3. I don't know really how valuable that is, so I'm not going to provide that. When we go into the spreadsheet, you're going to see that area is blank. Maybe once I get the database up and running, I can call on those numbers, but as of right now, I never kept Passpalum grass because basically you'd only have them on like the alternate events like Puerto Rico Open or the Corrales Punta Cana, as well as I think the Sony Open has that grass on it. Like the Waialae Country Club, I think, is where it's played. I'm not positive, but either way, I know those 3 tournaments have that grass. I'm not sure. This would be the 4th one. So either way, not going to include that grass in this one, but we're still going to do a course breakdown. We're going to look at results, and we're also going to look at course history. So you can find timestamps in the description. Also, chapter mode's enabled. That little red progress bar is cut up into segments, aka chapters. Those are based off the timestamps. So you can just go ahead, either put your finger on it if you're on mobile and move around to see where those segments or what those segments are, or if you're on desktop, you can just hover over it with the mouse and you will get the same thing. So let's go ahead and get into the spreadsheet before I bore you guys to death. We're going to start with the results, just to get an idea of how easy this course is, basically. I do think looking at the score is relevant to course fit, because we want golfers who can score low. We'll look at scoring stats tomorrow, or I should say later today with a strategy video. I will definitely get that out today once the tee times are provided. So let me bring that back. If tee times aren't provided, I won't be doing that video because that's kind of a large chunk of that video. But if they are, you will see one later tonight. Either way, scoring, you can obviously see this is one of those low scoring events. So Brennan Todd won it here last year at 20 under, Kuchar 22 under, Kazire 19, Perez 21, Charlie Hoffman 17, Graham McDowell 18, and Harris English 21 under. So golfers tend to go low, or the winners tend to go low at this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised, as long as it's not too windy, to see a score somewhere around that 24 under mark. So we're definitely going to want to target golfers who score low. let's go ahead and get into that course breakdown now. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. These course breakdowns, I basically look at a few sites to try to determine, what type of shot shape is important. I'm a competitive golfer. I feel like I see a golf course the same as a pro sees a golf course. Now, obviously, everyone's different, so I'm not saying everyone is going to see the golf course the same way I do, and I'm also not saying I'm as good as them. So either way, when I go through and look at all the courses, I get kind of a sense of what type of shot shape is safe off the tee or into the green, which one's a bit more aggressive, and try to determine which one's preferred, required, or if it doesn't really matter. On the screen, you can see OTT is off the tee. Obviously, if you're familiar with strokes gained stats, OTT is off the tee. Now, usually APR is what they use for approach. I just like to go APP for my approach abbreviation. So you can see I have all the shot shapes I think are necessary or preferred on these holes. And you're going to see a lot of the holes just don't matter. I have the any answer in there, if that's what you want to call it. This course is fairly tight. It's funny. Let me bring up the course overview, and let me zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see. Let's see here. So we'll zoom in and you guys can read here. Basically, the one thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of mangroves on this course. So a mangrove is a tree or shrub that grows in chiefly tropical coastal swamps that are flooded at high tide. You can also see there's a description there, or a definition. Basically a shrub or small tree. I think, if you look at the roots here, they're pretty gnarly with their roots. It's just what grows there. It's the vegetation, basically. Like the trees that surround, like this golf course has a lot of canals that kind of shape each hole. I want to show you guys, but I also don't want to get a copyright strike. But basically, what I'm showing you right now is they have a hole by hole or like flyby that you can go and check for yourself. The website's MayakobaGolfClassic.com. You can see their hole by hole, pretty nice. So you can see what trouble lurks and stuff like that. But yeah, let's see if I can get to a hole that has a canal. Yeah, you're not really gonna see anything there. So here's one where there's a canal all the way down the right side, and I think they're called mangroves, these trees that are here. Man, I'm not really doing the greatest job of trying to show you what it looks like. So let me pause it. This would be a canal right here. Like, there are canals on all of these holes, and then these are mangroves, the grass that's off to the side. And you can see mangroves over on the opposite side. Some of it, like, it's really difficult to determine what is their forest, as they like to call it, and their mangroves, because the trees kind of look very similar. Either way, most of the holes are lined with these mangroves, canals, and forests. Like, there aren't many holes where it's wide open. So that's why when you hear a lot of the people talk about how accuracy matters at this course, it's because there's a lot of trouble at this course. There is no bombing and gouging at this golf course. Almost every single tee shot, like when I went through and looked, nearly every tee shot, there was some kind of trouble, whether it was tree trouble, water trouble, or some other vegetation trouble, basically. So it is definitely more of a precision golf course. And again, I would probably have to echo what everyone else says about it being more of an accuracy golf course. But with that being said, most of the holes, like you can see on the screen right now, they're fairly or relatively straight. You know, there is no bend to a lot of these holes. And when there are bends, it's either at a distance that's too far to worry about, or it's like a wide enough fairway. So like hole, I think 16, like the fairway is one of the wider fairways where the landing area is. So there really isn't a need to like fade a golf shot around the corner. And when I looked at this hole, you could actually draw it, you know, over the vegetation to a large part of the fairway. Like if you're seeing on the screen now, I know it's pretty small and it's over my head, but this hole, like the tee box is down here, and you could draw it over around the corner, no problem. Now, why you'd want to hit a fade is because the water is on your right. Let's say if you hit a draw and it doesn't draw back, or if you're attempting to hit a draw, you're going to find yourself in the junk. If you try hitting a fade, the only issue you would have is over fading it, really. You could double cross yourself and find yourself flirting with the water on the left side, but for the most part, if you're hitting a fade and it over fades, you get to drop several yards further up than if you're to hit a draw, because the line of where the ball, you know, last crosses the hazard and enters the water is where you have to consider your drop from. So that's why pros usually like to hit fades when, you know, the water's on the right side. And again, I consider fades and draws just based off of a right-handed golfer's position as opposed to a left-handed. Just flip it for lefties. But either way, with a right-handed golfer, you want to play the smartest golf you possibly can. So shaping shots is crucial, but at this golf course, it really isn't. That's why you see a lot of any's here for the shot shapes. Not really. This course doesn't really prefer a shot shape. And the rule of thumb is when more holes don't require a shot shape, always, what is it called? Default to a fade. So having a fade is the best shot shape, especially when it comes to controlling your tee shot. So you definitely would want to fade the golf ball at this golf course more so than draw, but it's not going to hurt you if you do draw the golf ball. I tallied up all of the holes, and really most of them just don't matter, but on some approaches it would be beneficial if you hit a fade. One of the holes, beneficial hit a draw. So this golf course is pretty inviting or forgiving for any shot shape, but still the emphasis is making sure you don't find trouble. Again, the bomb and gouge approach isn't something that is going to be benefited here. There are no real openings between holes. You know, like say if you're at Augusta and you got in trouble hitting into the trees, there are ways to hit it out, but at this golf course, there aren't. Once you're in the trees, you're really not coming out because the roots are all entangled into each other. They grow very densely, these mangroves, I should say. Once they're in there, it's like a bush. Like you're not hitting the ball out. And I'm not talking about my Canadian friends who consider forests and woods bushes. I'm saying an actual bush, like a shrubbery. So either way, it really, there is no shot shape that's required at this golf course, but I would then default to a fade like I was saying. Also, you guys can pause this video at any time and read the descriptions that I have on the holes. So I kind of did my homework and figured it all out. I do recommend going to this website, Mayakoba Golf Classic.com, to see kind of the course preview and or I should say course overview, as well as the hole by hole. It looks like a nice golf course, and it's very challenging. It's very appealing to basically every type of golfer. except for those that sprayed off the tee, essentially. Okay, so that was kind of the course breakdown. There really isn't anything else I need to add to it. It's a par 71, 7,017 yards. I would want to find a golfer who scores pretty consistently. You know, if you're 2 under par each day, you're going to get that DraftKings bonus, which is 5 points, which is going to be very important in winning GPPs, as well as just, you know, scoring decent in these contests. But we want to find birdie makers. We want to find golfers who can score low and aren't afraid to continue scoring low. And there are differences when it comes to birdie makers versus, you know, just grinding to make pars. Like, those two golfers, very valuable when their game is on, but when it comes to DraftKings scoring, we don't want a grinded out golfer like a Jason Day. So I'm just throwing that out there. He's in the field. I don't see an issue playing him, but we need the Jason Day that scores a lot of or gets a lot of birdies. I don't need the Jason Day that can get par from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we'll want to look at. Let's go ahead, dig into course history. I do have this sorted and filtered by golfers who are playing in this event this year, as well as by their average finishing position. There are a few golfers here at the top that have only played this either once or twice. So you can see Ricky Fowler's up there, Robbie Shelton, Adam Long, DJ Trahan. You know, other than Ricky, the other 4 golfers I just named, all have only played this event once. So let me go ahead, remove those that have either played it. Well, let's actually first look at our rookies here. We have 14 rookies, and I think some of the notable guys to say, there are a lot. I should say more than I thought I was going to have to say. But Kiradech Affy Barnrat, he's actually a really interesting play. He is kind of a bomb and gouge type of golfer. I think this course actually probably sets up more like a Malaysian golf course, you know, where if you've ever watched any of the Euro Tour events and they are playing like anywhere near the Philippines or say Thailand or anything like that, I mean, that's where Kiradech is from. It looks a lot like this golf course. So, you know, although he is a bomb and gouge golfer, he might dial it back. Now, I know that's not really his game style, and he's even admitted as much, but he's a reasonable play, I think. Rafael Cabrera Bello, everyone kind of recognizes that name. He's been kind of a solid play or a solid golfer over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Doug Gim is kind of an up and coming, you know, he seems like he's a very consistent golfer, and I think this is a golf course that really benefits him. He can score really low and continue to put that pressure on, or put up good numbers. This course will not be something, because if I were to say anything that Doug Gim lacks, it'd probably be like strength, or I should say power, really. Not able to really move that ball that far off the tee. And this course isn't a long course, so this would fit him pretty decent. Brandon Grace, same thing applies. Doesn't hit the ball far, but hits it pretty accurate. This could suit him pretty decent. Alex Noren would be another one, as would Steve Stricker. Like, Alex Noren is a notable golfer just because he's a top 50 golfer, I think, in the world. He might be slightly outside of that. Let me just double check. Alex Noren is 88th in the official world golf ranking. So, yeah, maybe not exactly what I had thought. I'm sure he was lower at one point in time. But either way, solid golfer, definitely worth the consideration. Same Now, Steve Stricker, in my mind, before he kind of graduated to the senior tour, I would say that he would actually be a decent play for something like this. I think that Steve Stricker is a very accurate golfer, and he doesn't hit the ball very far, but I don't know. I instead of mumbling this through, the reason I don't really like Steve here is since he's gotten older, on the courses that he typically would thrive at, he just doesn't. And I think a lot of it has to do with endurance. I think he can put 3 rounds together just fine, but a 4th round isn't really, I just don't see it. So Steve Stricker, he is a cheap play. Maybe he finds my lineup once, but that's going to be it. The other golfer, really the only other, well, 2 golfers, Andy Ogletree, who just turned pro. He is a interesting play. This might be actually a good course for him, honestly. He just had a Masters showing where he made the cut. I think he was the low am as well. I'm not as hyped on him as some other people are, but I don't think it's a bad play. And then Will Zalatoris. I think this is one of those, it's kind of a graduated event from like the Corrales Punta Cana or the Puerto Rico Open, where I think those are courses he thrives at. So for rookies, those are the ones that I'd have my eyes on. As for everybody else, let's go ahead and actually remove 0 and 1 events and just go with golfers that have 2 or more. Obviously, Ricky then shows up as the top guy, and I'm going to go ahead and use that. I think that's totally fine. Yeah, like, I'm going to use this as kind of a confidence measure for Ricky Fowler. I'm not positive what shot shape Ricky ends up playing these days. Obviously, he was well known for his draw, but he's been moving to a fade. I think this is a course that, I mean, he's already showed up here twice. Obviously, this is more like a vacation destination type of golf course. And you would be worried about someone like a Ricky Fowler because obviously, social media would show us that he likes to enjoy his vacation time with his buddies, out there playing shirtless on golf courses, doing flips off of boats, that kind of thing. Obviously, Ricky has 2 good performances here. I think that's pretty decent. And I think for his price tag, it's not like it's pretty good. Following that, we have Emiliano Grillo, who I also like at this course. Russell Knox, I don't mind. Bryce Garnett, I mean, Corrales Punta Cana is his jam, and he has a lot of good finishes here. Might not be a bad play. Joel Damon, Gary Woodland. Now, Woodland has just been struggling. Like, he's had injury issues since the restart. Obviously, he lost a lot of weight. I don't know if that had anything to do with the injuries or what, but I'm not very trusting of Woodland. We have Scott Piercy, who I liked at the RSM Classic and didn't really perform terribly. Ches Reavie, Chris Kirk, Jason Duffner, Brian Gay are the next 4. Now we're kind of getting in the territory of just random golfers that I wouldn't so much say random. These are more like journeyman veterans. If we were to put them in another sport, they'd be the quarterback that has played, starting time, but is usually a backup, like that kind of stuff. These are the golfers we're getting into right now. We have Chucky Three Sticks, Charles Howell III, Taylor Vaughn, which actually I don't mind as a play this week, but I'm not really going to tout him and say he's one of my favorites. Abram Answer, believe it or not, has 4 events here. Now, this tournament is being played in Mexico, and I forgot to mention that during the course breakdown and the reason why we don't have tournament fact sheets, but this tournament is in Mexico, and that's probably why we don't have tournament fact sheets. But that's also why someone like Abram Answer has played here, more times than we can remember. I'm sorry, he's played here 5 times, not 4 times, 5 times. More than we have even seen him on tour. So this is a course that he obviously has decent knowledge on. He is coming in here with some good form. Not a bad play. I'm not going to talk about the rest of the guys, but you can obviously see them on the screen right now. I will be posting these on audio platforms, but I'm not going to talk about the other guys. I'd be sitting here forever if I were to do that. So let's go ahead and go into the spreadsheet. Again, I do this every single course fit video. This is the dream sheet. Usually what we would do is kind of go over this section here and look at the course fit information, but obviously I have no grass stats populated. Like I said, we're going to keep that empty. We already went over course history, so we're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about these stats until tomorrow, so you can obviously see recent form. These are all strokes gained stats. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And I say tomorrow, I mean later tonight. But the one thing we can look at, so I think this course, I said probably favor those that fade the golf ball, but it really doesn't matter, honestly. I don't even know if I care to really go through this information, honestly. Like, we could look at age. Here, let's do this. This will be fun. I'm just gonna go greater than or equal to 34, or 33. The reason being, Chad Eckert from the Fantasy Golf Pod tweeted out that winners at this tournament are usually around 34 years old. So why don't I actually go between 33 and 37? We'll go 36. Just to see, if that trend continues, and really I don't think it's a trend that's really that important, but if it kind of means that a little bit of experience matters at this golf course, and perhaps maybe decent experience or decent showings at this golf course might matter, might as well look at it, right? So your top price guy would be Billy Horschel. So top price for DK just means favorite, so he would be the favorite on DraftKings for his price. I suppose we'll keep it right here. Followed by Brendan Todd and Brian Harmon. So none of those guys are actually 34 years old. At least, the last time I updated the ages, it was during the Masters weekend. So this is 2 weeks after that. 3 weeks after? 3 weeks after. Some of these guys might have turned 34, but probably unlikely. Our first 34, our favorite 34 based off of DraftKings pricing is Patton Kizzire, followed by Keegan Bradley, Russell Knox. Those are the three there that are 34 years old. The next one is Troy Merritt, down here in the 6K range, and then Chris Baker and Mark Anderson. But everyone else that you see on the screen, these are your 33 to 36-year-olds. I personally don't care. It is an interesting trend, but this is a field that is stronger than any other field we've seen at the Mayakoba Golf Classic. I don't think a winner at 34 years old is going to win this tournament. Now, I could see someone maybe 31 years old winning this tournament, because I have two of them here that are decent, and everyone's going to be on Henley for good reason. So perhaps a 30-year-old will win this tournament, but I'm not too concerned about price or about age. Now, I would love to use a golfer's region, whether their home region or college region, for this, but I think this golf course is just a little bit too exotic for a lot of these. I would call these climates not so much temperature, but the grass at these golf courses that these guys are going to be playing on is nothing like this Seashore Paspalum that the Mayakoba Golf Classic has. So I don't think it's really that important to go over this golfer information. I would love to, because it's obviously right here for us to look at, but I just don't see any correlation between where a golfer lives and this golf course matching up whatsoever. I mean, I almost want to say like California, maybe we might see some there, but even then, I think they use probably different grasses that aren't necessarily the same. You know what I'm saying? So I guess if I were to go to home state, clear that out and put in California, let's see how many California golfers there are. We have 5. And honestly, I don't like any one of them. Maybe Max Homa, but yeah, I'm not gonna live and die off of that. So I think with that, that's just going to end the course fit video. I mean, again, the shot shape doesn't really matter. So even if we were to talk about our favorite fades and favorite draw golfers, it's just, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be pointless, but I don't think it's really gonna matter that much. I don't have all of the information on here populated anyways. That is a work in progress and will continue to be a work in progress until I finally have everybody situated. But I think with that, I'm just going to end this video. So I will have a strategy video out shortly. Shortly, that's a relative word. Should be by tonight, 9 p.m. Central. I should have a video out for you guys. So look for it on Twitter. Otherwise, if you are on YouTube and you've gotten to this far, I would say turn on that notification bell. It will give you obviously alerts whenever I post something new, and you guys can go ahead and watch it. And that way it'll give you some time before lineups lock. I don't know what time it's going to be this week, but I think it's going to be something. Oh, it'll probably be later, right? Because it's like California time, I'm thinking. Either way. Yeah, I don't think it's going to really matter with lineup lock. Either way, you should have a full day to be able to review these videos or to watch them and come up with your own convictions. So with that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you soon. All right, bye.